mentors, thanks for tuning in. I'm just going to give a little bit of an update about the mentoring program and what it looks like for your support this year. My name is Carrie Houstons. I am a professional learning teacher consultant and I work with the New Educator and Mentor program. So I will be your contact person and I will add my information to either the end of this video or a later video. So quick outline, we're going to be talking about program updates, what your mentor responsibilities are, what's your documentation requirements, and then what are the support and resources for our new mentors. So let's take a look at some of our program updates. So one of the big things is that in the purple box you'll see it says targeted support for the first 5 years. So this doesn't mean that mentors are going to be mentoring for 5 years. It just means that as a district we are looking at different ways to support our educators, and so you guys as mentors are just going to fall into, if you look in the blue box, 2 years of support. So that's a big change. We've gone from 1 year of mentoring to 2, and so we'll talk a little bit about that because some of you are mentoring a second-year teacher and some of you are mentoring a first-year teacher. The red box, this is an important thing, so please write this date down. Any mentor who is supporting a year 1 teacher is expected to attend the first ongoing support cohort, and that date is September 17th. It's a Monday from 5:30 to 6:30. So this has been a special request from our cohort leaders and from new educators because we need to kind of make that connection between the supports that they're getting from the cohort leaders, the mentors, kind of tying those pieces together and creating that understanding that we're all supporting new educators in this process together. So September 17th from 5:30 to 6:30. And then another major change is our Danielson Framework mentor training. So this year we have about 30 of our mentors that are being trained with the Danielson Framework on how to support new teachers. And so that is going to bleed into the work of all of our mentors, because eventually all KUSD mentors will be trained in supporting teachers using the Danielson Framework, since that is our instructional framework. And so as we transition, we just want to make sure that everybody has a shared understanding of what that looks like and where we are going, in fact, as a district. So some of this may seem a little bit foreign if you have not been trained in the Danielson Framework, but know that that is the direction you'll be heading. And so if you can start working toward that, we will get you supported as we go through this work. So just let's take a look quickly at what does the 5 years look like. Again, you guys will fall into year 1 and year 2, but it's kind of this building of having the most support in year 1 and then kind of gradually releasing to our teachers and building the efficacy so that they can do this stuff on their own. So year 1, you guys are really going to help them build an awareness of their students, what they are teaching, how do you instruct well, and within this falls a lot of the classroom management pieces, because we know that no teaching and learning is going to happen without that strong classroom environment and good classroom management. Once that foundation is built, then in year 2, the focus is really going to be on working with greater intentionality in meeting student needs. So making sure that all students are successful, really honing in on content, pedagogical practices, and what that looks like. Years 3, 4, and 5, I'm not going to go into great detail, but that really is talking about digging in deeply, having really strong reflection, and using formative assessment responsively and in the moment to really ensure that students are leaving the classroom day to day knowing what they need to know and where they need to go next in their learning. So again, really year 1 and year 2 focus of this work for you guys as mentors. So reminder for year 1 alignment, kind of thinking about that big foundation of the pyramid. Year 1 is going to have the most amount of supports. So we do have kind of 3 levels of support during year 1, and that year 1 mentors should be aware of so that you know kind of where you fall into this work. So the 3 layers, we have the general educator needs. So that covers, you know, the stuff that's at district orientation. So content information, big ideas in the district, so how to access technology, what is their evaluation framework, and so forth. It also does go into a little bit of site orientation, which would be, again, just that understanding of curriculum, where to access resources, and so forth. Then we get into a little bit more specific of content or specialty area needs. And so the new educators in year one are divided into cohorts of job-alike groups, and that's led by a cohort leader also within that position or category. And so they will have general topics that are applicable to all teachers across the board. And they'll be, again, in alignment with the areas of focus that you will be working on, but again, they'll be working with a group and being able to talk and share with others who are in the same position and new educators. And then finally, we get to the individual needs, where that's where you as mentors are really going to be digging in deeply and connecting and making this work and this learning very practical and tangible for the new educators. So you guys are that most direct piece of support for that first year. So what does all of this mean for me as a mentor? So let's look at our mentor responsibilities. This is going to be divided into year one and year two responsibilities. So just kind of an overarching thing though for year one and year two, a big part of this is helping our educators build that emotional capacity, that dealing with the challenges of being a new teacher. So a big part of this is really helping our new educators look at small wins, help them celebrate successes, don't take on too many things or try to focus on the whole thing. Just look at the successes that are happening day to day, or even just what is the one win that you have. But just kind of keeping that in mind for both year one and year two. So year one, you have this overarching theme of building emotional resilience. So again, going back to that small wins and celebrating success, also helping your new educator take care of themselves and their needs, because they're not going to be a strong educator if they are not ready emotionally to be the leader in that classroom. With that alignment to the Danielson framework, we are really looking at supporting the new educators around instructional clarity, creating a learning environment, and developing strong classroom management. So as you notice, there are Danielson components that tie to each of those areas. There are a lot in the instructional clarity area, but know that a lot of those repeat in the second year, just with a slightly different lens. So basically in year one, making sure that they know what they need to teach, what are the key things, they have this productive, strong learning environment, and that they have strong classroom management skills, because this is really the foundation. And always, going in and working with your new educator and identifying what are their strengths and areas of growth for each of these areas, because not everybody is going to need support at the same level in all of these areas. Everyone can grow in all of these areas, and so that'll be the focus, but it's just kind of figuring out what is the starting point and what is the goal for each of these places. So then looking at the stipend breakdown, just so you know, kind of like the one-pager, mentors are expected to attend the site orientation, so at the building with your new educator, 4 hours, and that's spread out over the orientation days. So the first day, though, you are required to be there. It is Thursday, August 23rd from 1:30 to 4, so at your building supporting, and then the other time would really be based on what other meetings they have. So there's Alice training, you'll have to work around and kind of figure out how to support them. But really it's up to 4 hours for that compensation. Then again, the ongoing support cohort on September 17th, your classroom visit, and then 17 hours of ongoing check-ins with the foci that we talked about on the previous slide. If we take a look at year two, this is really getting our new educators to start thinking about the cause and effect relationship between what are my instructional choices and how does that result in engaged students and successful learning for all my kids. So cause and effect, what am I doing and how does that impact kids? And so you'll notice, there's several components that were present in the instructional clarity, but again, looking at them from a slightly different lens. So kind of pushing for this cause and effect relationship, and still looking at building that emotional resilience by supporting them and celebrating those small victories. The stipend breakdown for those supporting teachers in year 2 is a total of 21 hours, so it's 2 hours less than the year 1. And so just know there's a year 2 mentor workshop that's going to be, and you'll want to write this down, but hopefully you've already signed up for this. That's August 27th from 1 to 4 p.m. at Indian Trail. Year 2 will also be engaging in the classroom visit day, and then the ongoing check-ins, again 17 hours with the foci mentioned in the previous slide. As always, we'll talk about documentation, but all of this stuff will be outlined too in the mentor checklist to kind of give that overview of what this stuff all looks like.